Welcome back, I'm MTG Joe, and we're here today with a pile of mid-range cards. So, Black-White, Orzhov, Kenrith, mid-range, throw together a bunch of life gain stuff. So recently got to Diamond rank, and I was trying to brew a couple things, and ended up just running into mono-red, Knights aggro, Rakdos aggro, whatever you want to call them. Decks that are looking to take you out as quick as possible. So try and experiment with a life gain sub-theme and kind of have a, as I joke, a 25 creature board wipe deck. So a little bit proactive against control, but also has some threats. So the deck itself is looking to have kind of a enter the battlefield theme, life gain theme, and kind of just grind out value. So the Enter the Battlefield theme is exemplified with Charming Prince, which can blink but also gain us life. You have Fenlurker, which can force your opponent to exile cards from their hand. And then you have Bell-Haunt, which also causes them to discard. So you kind of get these in unison. You can blink them multiple times. You also have Cavalier of Night, which can serve as removal in the main board. And when it dies, you get to bring back one of your 2-drops. We also have an aggressive slant in terms of Knight of Ebon Legion. The 1-drop that scales quite well to the late game. Tithe Taker's in here to disrupt some of the flash decks. We'll probably have a harder time against those, trying to get our spells out. Against aggro, it's basically 2 blockers. 3 Murderous Riders to kill things, as well as the lifelink body on the back end. Gideon Blackblade is a threat against control, but also can serve as a way to give us lifelink, indestructible, kind of push through that damage. Oathakaya removal, as well as life gain. And then we have a number of Planeswalkers in our deck, so it also gains us some life when they attack into them. Bell-Haunt, as I mentioned. Sorin is another way for us to gain life. Can ping at creatures if they down tick onto Fairy, for example, on 3. We can play this on turn 4 and then hit it for the last point of damage. It can also reanimate any of the spells here, so it works out well. Can pretty much reanimate everything in our main board, even just as a trade initially. 2 Kaya's Wrath and a Realm-Cloaked Giant are our sweepers. Realm-Cloak has the added upside of being useful if we don't need the sweeper. 2 Kenriths. So Kenrith is going to be primarily used to gain life and reanimate in this deck. There's no way for us to give haste. And then we are splashing 2 sources of blue, a Hallowed Fountain and a Watery Grave. Both are able to allow us to draw cards. So no way to search them up, but if we have to get them, then there's some value there. Then 2 other 6-drops, Liliana Dreadhorde General, very common in terms of your 6-drops. And then Circle of Loyalty is something I actually want to try. We do have a number of knights in the terms of Knight of Ebon Legion, Murderous Rider, and Cavalier of Night. So it can get the cost reduction, but the way we can play it is whenever a legendary spell's cast, which we have a lot of in this deck, we get a 2/2, and it can also let us pump extra mana into knights. The only other thing in the main board, 2 castles of each, white and black. Sideboard-wise, we have Duress, Devout Decree, Noxious Grasp, Despark, Prison Realm, Cry against aggro, Command Dreadhorde versus lower decks, and Ethereal Absolution. So we'll try it out and go from there. We are on Diamond. We'll play some ranked games, and we'll see how this fares. Hopefully not run into Flash, because that's probably our worst matchup, and see how it goes. So a couple quick things before we jump into chat with everyone. As always, if you miss anything live, you can catch it on my YouTube channel. Do consider subscribing to both YouTube and follow on Twitch. Both are free and easy ways to show your support. I do have a TCG affiliate link that's in the video description on YouTube. If you're buying cards, you can follow that link. It costs you absolutely nothing more than your normal purchase. Just lets them know that you came from the channel. And I should have a couple more arena codes thanks to Wizards. I know some people said they go pretty quick. It's first come, first serve, unfortunately. I'm just posting them on there. YouTube doesn't allow me to private message, so it's the way I could kind of try to give back that way. Other than that, that's pretty much it. This is a pretty good hand to keep this on 2, 3 if we need it. Bell-Haunt into that. And Damon, you got a commander deck for Christmas. Which one did you grab? So they lead on the forest. We can just go like this, hold up the Murderous Rider, we'll attack in. We'll take out their play on 2. They also missed a land. So Bell-Haunt is another way we can pressure their life total. This could still be flash. I'm gonna go Bell-Haunt here. It gets a card out of their hand. There's a consideration for Sorin. Okay, so this is the ramp deck. Nice. How did you build Kenrith? So the question here is, do we actually Murderous Rider this? Like, they've been struggling on mana. Might be a bit greedy. I have Maelstrom Wander as my only EDH deck left. It's kind of mid-rangey control with the Splinter Twin combo. Kiki-Jiki, but I was considering just switching to Kenrith just for some more ramp options. So we got Castle here. So I think what we're going to do is that and then just attack in. Because they can go Cavalier this turn, I want to kill it with the trigger on the stack. And then Sorin can just keep poking at it. That's fine. So we'll poke them. Attack with both. They'll probably block, I'm guessing. Because they're dead on board otherwise. Okay. So I'm going to do this. I'm going to blink the Bell-Haunt. It gains us 3 more life. And it forces another card out of their hand. Just play a land. Okay, so they discard a Cavalier. So they did have it that turn. So they were dead if they played it. Yeah, they're pretty much dead there. Them missing the line drops. There was a reason, like a rationale to play that. So Noxious Grasps come in this matchup. The Disparks as well. The question is, do we want a Command the Dreadhorde? So let's see what we're cutting. So the Tithe Takers come out in this matchup. The Gideons are interesting, but also probably come out, at least on the play. They get outclassed pretty easily. Kind of like everything else. So maybe just shave a Fenlurker down. Or maybe a Bell-Haunt. Fenlurker as an early play is decent. Or you know what? They're probably not going to have enchantment removal, so let's bring in Prison Realm. And then maybe we just do the Command the Dreadhorde. Because they're going to go big. We can get a bunch of Risen Reefs off them that don't cost too much. They're also self-milling with Cavalier. Yeah, let's try that. We might be a little too top heavy. Let's try it out. It's the fun part. You kind of learn as you go along with these brews. We have enough removal to get rid of their big stuff. Our removal's also flexible. Not a great hand. But we probably keep. We have a scry on 1 to find lands, and then the scry off Charming Prince. Question is, I'm just going to keep the lands. I think guaranteeing lands is useful in this matchup. Want to try to either find... That's pretty sweet, Damon. Yeah, so the hand of double Noxious Grasp is definitely what we want to see on top. That gives us a play for the next turn. And then we're just kind of playing into the Kaya's Wrath, I think. Interesting. I'm just gonna pass the turn here. Okay, so they had double Growth Spiral. They missed a land. We also have this Spark, which is really good against Cavalier. So what goes in the grave? So we got at least 2 elementals in the grave. And we see a Love Struck. So I want to keep my life total pretty high. So I exiled here even though we had Kaya's Wrath, only because it gives us a little bit more play this turn. Let's force the other cards out of their hand. Ooh, we got him to discard a Hydroid Crisis. Ooh, Agent's not good. So we missed a couple land drops, which sucks. So I'm going to Kaya's Wrath here. Stealing their agent will be good. They Love Struck. Okay, so we want to find another land here. Knight's not what we want. We're going to win with this. Command the Dreadhorde, because I can take Agent, some Druids, and that should put us ahead on both cards and mana, hopefully. Just Noxious Grasp this. So that's 5, 7, 14, 14, 18, 20. No counterspell. No counterspell. Sweet. And we stole that one. So that worked out really well that game, actually. Combination of disruption, removal, everything kind of going. It's able to take them out there. So for those who just tuned in, we are playing a black-white mid-range deck. A bunch of removal, blinks, planeswalkers. Got 3 sweepers in Realm-Cloaked and Kaya's Wrath. Circle of Loyalty gets triggered with all our legendary spells that we have in the deck, but also gets reduced by Knight of Ebon, Legion, Murderous Rider, and Cavalier of Night. And then we're using Kenrith as kind of a reanimator and life gain spell, and then kind of win through that route. So we just took down Simic Ramp. We'll fire it up again. Just going to give it a quick reset. I'm noticing a bit of lag here, so don't want it to crash halfway through, and then we we lose because of arena things. So probably until the new set comes out, I'll try to do as many brews as possible, just play different things. I am trying to find, once more spoilers come out, I'll start brewing up some decks and we can do some deck techs on the channel. I really want to build Mono Black Devotion or Black White Devotion with Grey Merchant of Asphodel. I already ordered a bunch of cards, so interested to brew, see what kind of comes up that at root. Play first. Sand looks good. I'm going to lead on the Knight and then play the Scryland on 2 since we don't have a play. Opponent is fairly close to Mythic. One sec. My dog has a habit of guarding the stairs. Abby, come here. So, oh, you know what? I should have played Fenlurker. I didn't realize we drew that. Fenlurker would have been good to get a card out of their hand. Okay, so they Paradise Druid here. I think we do want to attack their hand. So I'm going to shock there just in case they do decide to trade. I don't want to lose this. This can still be flash. The flash decks usually will play Paradise Druid. So I want them to react here. I think we just pump here. They might bait us into the Brazen Borrower bounce. Okay, they go Ambusher. So that sneaks in. I was concerned that they had a spell there. I can take them off the last 2 cards in their hand. But I think we just pass the turn and then Murderous Rider on their turn. So this both forces them to play something to stop it, but it also stops the wolf from being created. They're playing Negate main. It's a tad annoying. So let's just eat away at their hand here. And then we can, I think we just force it here. If they want to block, they can. These decks usually only play 2 Brazen Borrowers, if any. This leads us a little weaker to Nissa. Hopefully this does eat away at their hand some more. Ooh, we took out a Nissa. So they might have 2. They might just be short on lands and opting to go with that just to control the board. That could be Nisa. Yeah. I'm gonna double block the land. Bell-Haunt can take the last card out of their hand. Actually, I can Sorin negative. I could Sorin -2, get Bell-Haunt. So either I can Bell-Haunt. Sorin plus doesn't do too much here. Bell-Haunt's the better blocker. So it's Bell-Haunt here. And I think we just go for the Scry. Try to set up our next draw. Oh, the Kaya is nice. Or do we go... Do we keep the Knight knowing that we're going to go Sorin this turn? No, because this lets us attack with Knight and hold up that too. This will also do a decent job of blocking. Because this can take out the whatever land they animate. And they're not really incentivized to attack with the Ambusher. That takes them off another land, and then we also have this, so if they attack Sorin, we gain some life. So I want to know if Sorin resolves first. It does. So let's get back Charming Prince. Exile the Bell-Haunt. And then I think we probably... No, we can't attack. Okay, so there's another Nisa in hand. Nisa could ultimate here. They opt to not. So we do need to pressure here. Our life total's at a fairly decent amount. Play that tapped. Like they can get a bunch of lands, but then they lose their recursive source. I'm gonna draw a card this turn. Fenlurker's not terrible. We need to control this Nisa. Let's see what we get out of their hand. Frilled Mystic. I want to see what we get first. They could eventually Alpha Strike us. We're just trying to dig for like Kaya's Wrath. We have a bunch of Wraths in our deck. Could Murderous Rider back, doesn't really do much. Need to target here. Not being able to kill this early has kind of hurt us. They've just gotten a bunch of power. They could flash in. Like at this point, if they have like another wolf or something. What have we seen counter spell? They also haven't seen a lot of like counters. Okay, so they do ultimate here. Their lands go indestructible. Probably gonna try to get some cards out of their hand. So what I'll want is these princes to die, so that way I could blink with Bell-Haunt. So block. 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 Block here. If they have like another wolf, our knights die. Actually, they don't. They go to... Well, this one will die. This one still lives. Let's see a Wrath. Come on. So I'm actually just going to do this to scry. We need to find a Wrath this turn. Liliana doesn't do it, neither does another Bell-Haunt. I can attack in for a bunch, gain some life, but we're still dead. Flash is a tough matchup. Not being able to answer the ambusher early. So the Sparks are in. Noxious Grasps are in. I don't think Duress is that good in this matchup. The Oathakayas feel pretty bad. Gideon feels pretty bad. Like, I doubt we're going to sneak a Circle of Loyalty down. So probably cut that. Like, these are removal spells. They're probably fine. We do want Kenrith. Cry Carnarium doesn't really do too much just because everything's 3. I think it's just really having answers for Nissa and the Wolf is important. So maybe we keep the Oathakaya in. Like, we were good that game if we drew Kenrith. And we grinded him out of quite a few cards. There was a few turns where we just drew lands and kind of puttered out. Let's run it like this. Because realistically, like, Oathakaya can take down a Nissa land, or like, it doesn't get rid of Wolf. I'm going to mulligan this hand just because we can't reasonably cast Lurker. We'll keep this hand. Going to put back... Going to put back the Hallowed Fountain. The Grasps have too much utility in this matchup. Not having a threat early is a little problematic. Like, if that other hand had another black source, we would have kept it. Bell-Haunt gets us there. You're just not going to draw lines now? Cool. We are not going to draw lands now. Be greedy. Throw a wolf down. Okay, so they do have the Borrower. They usually play 2 of them. Borrower actually does a pretty good job of getting around both the Spark and Noxious Grasp. Yeah, buddy. Get greedy. No real reason either or for Dispark or Noxious Grasp. Might as well just gain the life. I think at this point we just want lands and ways to force them to discard. Again, if they want to trade here, they missed a land drop, so I'm willing to do this trade. This could also entice them with like a wolf, but they likely wouldn't block. They have white. Wonder what the white's for in the deck. Maybe just time wipe. Fenlurker is very good here. Fenlurker lets us play out a threat that they'll have to consider countering. Cool. They sabotage. Now, the question is, do we grasp this and then take them off all, like, 2 sources of mana? No. Because if they play Nissa here with the untapped trigger on this stack, I can Noxious Grasp it. Then I could follow it up with Oathakaya. Or Basilica Bell-Haunt. Because Bell-Haunt does a good job of blocking here. Not drawing lines has kind of sucked. They get rid of a Frilled Mystic, which bodes pretty well for us. I mean, just keep passing that turn. So I want to try to force their mana. They have a lot of cards in hand, 19 minutes, so they're playing pretty quick. Opponent's thinking about it. Okay, so they Frilled Mystic. Let's just throw out another belly. Our deck will not give us lands this game. I don't understand why they have Aether Gust in their deck still. Do we force Kenrith? What you got? I'd keep it up if we could start making tokens with Ardenvale, but I kind of want them to overextend and then try to burn them out of all their counters. Because if we could get Liliana down, we can do a good job of cleaning up the board. Okay, that's another Frilled Mystic. That's 4 Frilled Mystics out of the way. Three, 4 body has been super relevant this game. Just continue to eat away at their hand. They've been a Nissa. That's interesting. Okay, so they have the negate. So this puts him to 1 card in hand. No cards, so we can board wipe here. And we get the land for Liliana afterwards. I think this is a fine trade. I'm just gonna lead Kenrith here in case they have a counter. With Kenrith, I just start reanimating Bell-Haunts. Let's get this card out of there. Alright, let's do it in their upkeep. That way, if they want to cast the spell, they have to pay mana. It's just an island. Cool. So we could Liliana down tick here. Draws us a card. So the white's just for like Prison Realm style effects. Shocklands rotate end of next year. So you probably have about another year, but it's going to be the premier land for Pioneer. So if you have any interest in playing that, yeah. So grinded him out that game. It was a good showing for the deck. They have negates. We might want... Do we want Prison Realm? Prison Realm feels bad. On the play, they all have counters up. Yeah, so if you're new to the game, I would. But I would say... So find a deck you want to play and then craft the cards you need for that. Don't just kind of craft like willy-nilly. You'll need the lands because any 2-color deck, they're the best lands in it. So for example, say if you're interested in Golgari Adventure, a lot of the cards are from Throne of Eldraine, so you can craft the cards, but you'll still need yeah, if you need variety, it's going to be a little tough because like having good mana allows you to play the cards on turn. I would say stick to maybe so black-green, you can play quite a few different decks. Opponent goes first. I'm going to keep this in the dark. Like so with Golgari, you can play like the Great Henge version with Rotting Regisaur. Really need a land. You can play the Adventure Knights. You can just play the normal Adventure version. So there's a couple... Yeah, Rotting Regisaur is not a card, but you can play like the aggro version if you want with like Rankle. It really depends like what you kind of want. Like if there's a particular color. I was just using Golgari as an example. Nah, we're going to lose this game because we missed lands. 24 lands and we're just not seeing them. The fact we also don't have an answer. If this came in untapped, it would have been good. like Fires takes a lot of rares, and then most of them, like with the Cavaliers, they'll go. If you want like a heavier throne deck, you could look at like Teamer Adventures, or like because you're pretty much just playing all the adventure cards, so they're good for the year. Drawing nothing but knights here. Let's just try to eat away at their hand. This probably means a wolf's coming down in our near future. Teamer would play 12 shock lands, and then you'd be looking at probably 4 temples, I think is what it plays. You may be playing some Fabled Passages, but with going Teamer, because it plays Lucky Clover and Beanstalk Giant, you can play a higher density of what are they called? Basics. Because you can have like Search, so that can fix your mana. So opponent's pretty much got us at this point. Probably gonna concede. Like they're gonna get a lot of value. So if this isn't a counter, then we might be able to hold them off. I'm gonna shock here, just in case they have... What's it called? So I wouldn't necessarily spend all my stuff on wild, like on the shocks. I would find a deck that you'd be interested in playing first, and then going from there. You want to be mindful. Okay, they tap down all their blue, so we'll take out Nissa here. Like if you can stick to monocolor, but also I would maybe hang off, just play whatever decks you have. The new set's going to come out in a couple weeks. You may want to just see like what it kind of looks like once that new set's out, because Mono Black Devotion might be a deck that becomes a thing, and then you can play that. So here I'm going to go Fenlurker. And I think we just try to jam Sorin. Boned on that one. Sorin would have been good as a life gain swing, because they're hitting us for 3 a turn here. What are the chances that's a counter? That buys us another turn, so let's just pump these up. I'm just worried of like countering Or like White Being and then they drop a wolf and then all we have back is Tithe Taker? Okay. So this gets them to overcommit. So I'm dead regardless. So if they counter it, I'm dead. I think we just let it go. I need to... I need to be able to Kaya's Wrath. Yeah, they had the Mystic, so we were dead anyways. That one's tough. That is a tough one. I like the deck. Just Flash sucks to play against. Probably jam a bit more of this. I'm going to wrap this one up, but this is probably a deck I'm going to continue exploring offline. And if I come up with any modifications, I will post it on AetherHub, maybe do another video. I'm going to wrap this one up. Thanks all those who tuned in. As always, you can catch all my content on YouTube. Thanks for stopping by, and have a great one.